Hello people, Elevate Truth TV again, and today I'm going to talk about an issue that has been going on in my life for a long time. And it's the fact that the mother of my children has gone full parental alienation mode in her capacity as a narcissist. Now, I don't really want to be making accusations about this person, but I think it's going to be important to reveal how narcissistic personality disorder works, the pathology of it, and how it relates to what's going on in my life at the moment. And also I'd like to talk about a very, very important thing, which is this: empathy. Unless you understand empathy, you cannot understand the narcissist. And I'll come back to that important word, empathy. Very closely related to love, because I've spoken about love as well. And that leads me on to this topic. I received a statement a few days ago, which is in support of an application where the mother wants to prevent me from saying hello to my children so that I see them in public. The statement goes into great detail of how I should immediately leave the vicinity if I ever see them, run away like a little rabbit in the headlights. It will never happen. If I see my children out, I'm going to beckon them, I'm going to speak to them, I'm going to show them that I care for them and love them. And no power on earth is going to stop me from doing that, none. That's not what this is about though. It's about the fact that in the past, the mother of my children would make a lot of very damaging accusations, and I would find myself reacting to these accusations. So a theme of this video is also about growth as an individual, because when I got this statement through, I wasn't triggered in the least, but I was able to see the insidious nature of her pathology. Now, the application, this one, goes into many areas. It talks about the things I've been placing online, such as a video to my two children, called Open Message to my two beautiful son and daughter, and I did another one, Message to my beautiful children. She speaks about this, she puts this in the statement. She also talks about posters that I put out. Now, the crazy thing is this. She also speaks about a video that I made about one of her colleagues who made some false, racially based lies about me, which helped me to be placed on remand in prison last year, which I also defeated in a court of law last year, along with her false allegations, along with the mother's false allegations of rape. Now, because I've defeated all these lies, she has nothing really to base any negative behaviour on my part on, apart from this stuff I've said to my children. So we have a message like this one, which was done in September of this year, which goes as follows. To my two beautiful children, I can't see you now. I can't hear your happy voices or see your little faces. But Daddy has never once forgotten you, and there has not been one day that I have not had you at the forefront of my mind. I have been fighting for you because I know you need me, and it is my duty to be the best father I can be to you. I cannot contact you, but you are both getting older now, and I know you will start to look for me, maybe online. It might not be this message that you see, you might not see this message, but I will keep finding ways to make my presence known. Now, the message goes on to speak a little bit about how much I love them and the miracle of their birth and so forth. And then it ends with me saying that they should contact me, they should find me, because I'm looking for them, they should look for me. In addition to this, there was also another message that I put up, or a few messages that she went into, and it read as follows. Haslam Park is one of the main parks I used to take my children to so they could play. I have started going there daily to exercise and remember these times with them. It makes me feel close to them. So these are the messages, along with a few others where I speak about the love for my children and how much I want to see my children. These are the messages that the mother is using to define me as somebody that is harassing her and trying to control her. Now the Duluth model, this one, of domestic violence, which seems on the surface to be a very comprehensive guide towards controlling behaviour and all that and so forth, is really a man-hating model that defines the man always in the role of the victim, of the perpetrator of violence, and the woman as the victim. And these two things cannot change. But there has been women who victimise men, and there are women who abuse their children in many ways. And it's not the nature of this video to go into that, but if anybody wants to challenge me, which there might be some women out there who want to challenge me, or even some men out there who want to challenge me, I will happily make you a video that proves that violence is not a gender-based thing. Controlling is not a gender-based thing. And I'd like to go back to the nature of the mother of my children. In the early days when I first met the mother of my children, I had no intention of getting involved with this person, but she actually targeted me. And this comes back to the empathic nature of myself and other people who are targeted by narcissists. I remember after being told about the abuse that she suffered as a child, the sexual abuse by the hands of her stepfather, the abuse from her mother, who was supposed to be, in her terms, complicit in the abuse from her stepfather. I remember being in a mode where I was kind of trying to protect her and trying to find ways to make her heal, to help her to heal. I remember buying this book for her. It's a kind of bog standard, no, I'll just say bog standard. It's a kind of low level, that's even not good. It's a kind of self-help book for the masses. It has a spiritual content in it, and it is quite well known in terms of self-help books. Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. I remember giving her this book and signing it with some loving message inside. And within maybe 2 or 3 days, she'd given the book away to a friend. And I never understood this because I didn't understand the nature of a narcissist. Because she didn't really see herself as in any need of anything. She was just trying to use my empathic nature to victimize and to break me down. She was then able to, seek narcissistic supply. She was then able to use the same book and place herself in a superior position with her friend who needed help. She put herself, after mirroring me and what I was trying to help her with, she put herself in a power position to gain narcissistic supply from her friend. Now, one of the reasons why I ended a relationship with the mother of my children is because, as I say, I never wanted anything to do with her, but she in university, she sought me out on the university email list and then tried to, it's a deep story, but she was seeking me out, trying to find me, targeting me, as narcissists do. And over a period of time of being with her for 10 years, I realised that I was looking at her doing this with other men. There was a guy called William Socha, who was the capoeira teacher, Brazilian martial arts teacher, for a group that we got involved with. Not only had she sought out men in the group before I even went to the group, she had sought this person out who was in Brazil and started communicating with this person long before he even came to this country. But when he came to the country, she passed off the situation as if she had never known him, and it was a first meeting. These kind of issues that I started to see happening, I started to see as a reflection of what had happened to me, and that's why I left the relationship. But I digress a little, because it's more about the nature of what's happening with my children now. So these expressions of love, because if you look at the messages that I've sent to my children, there are no messages to do with blaming the mother or calling this. I do mention certain things of what's happened, but in the messages that are directly to my children, I speak of the love for my children, and this brings it back to the empathic nature of what I'm doing. I'm trying to empathise with my children and show love to my children, even though there's a distance between my children. But the mother, being a narcissist, cannot understand that a man a father could actually love her children, our children. It doesn't register. So the love and empathy that I'm trying to show for my children doesn't register in the narcissistic mind of the mother as anything like that. It registers as harassment towards her. And the real pathology of it is, and craziness of it, is the fact that she cannot relate to the need of her children to have a father. For instance, there's a part in this statement that says, although my children would love to have a relationship with their father, which is a beautiful thing to hear, because obviously she has not been able to break the bond between me and my children still wish to see me, which is wonderful. She has placed on the end of this a caveat which says, although they want to see me, they are afraid of the unpredictable nature of their father. This is code word for violent nature of their father. Because as I said, these people are operating from the point of view that every man is a violent person and every woman is a victim. She's trying to place herself in this kind of victim place once again in order to gain power over her children. And she is trying to make out to my children that I'm so unpredictable, as she states, that I could be violent. Well, the truth is this: never been violent to my children at all. Why would somebody be trying to implicate me in that kind of thinking, other than to control their minds? Now, the funny thing about the whole scenario is this: when a child wants to see a parent, there must be some kind of breaking of the parental bond from the point of view of the narcissist. And as the narcissist doesn't want to be coming across as the bad guy, so to speak, they must project these issues onto the empathic parent. I know some people are going to start thinking, how come I'm sat here calling myself an empath and stuff like this? Because narcissists usually seek out empathic, sensitive people, because a lot of the times, in the case of certain types of narcissists, which the mother of my children is, want to place themselves in that kind of victim mode. It's a very shocking situation. But as I said, it shows me that I'm on a really powerful path in terms of the love of my children. And it's something I'd really like to reach out to parents and say, is that you're under attack. Not just from the alienator, but from the system itself. A system that is designed to break your spirit. I got a message from a woman from America the other day who was saying she was losing hope. And I told her, rather than fight the system, embody the love of your children. That seems strange. What does that mean? Well, when the mother of my children said, pointing out the statement about me being in Haslam Park, in her mind, that's some kind of stalking behaviour. But in my mind, it's this: when you can start to embody the love that you have for your children and the memories that you used to have for your children, in my belief, it is reaffirming that bond in your psychology, in your heart, in your mentality. And it is a kind of subconscious energy that you're projecting out into the world. You know, I know that people can tell when somebody's feeling depressed, feeling lonely, and obviously you can tell when somebody's full of joy and exuberant. We as alienated parents, a lot of the time, are placed in a position where we send out the kind of energy of rejection, of loss, of pain, which is part of the process. You can't lose something that you feel so valuable about without feeling pain. But if you can start to turn it around, because we've got a choice, we can either let the loss of our children destroy us, as the system wants, or we can start to embody the remembrance of our children, the love of our children. Going to the park and remembering where I used to play with them and stuff like this is so empowering on so many levels. You know, in a psychological way, it brings me closer to them, and also in a kind of personal way, it builds up my resolve to carry on the fight, to see my children, because I'm not remembering the loss, I'm remembering the togetherness. And what is it I want in my life? Is it continued loss, or is it togetherness? I think you all know the answer to that. So just to wrap this up, I've gone into a few different areas, but just to wrap this up, the fact of the matter is I'm going to be going into court to listen to this deluded woman, mother of my children. And again, that sounds like an attack, but I have to say, for anybody to think that they have, you see, it brings me back to the 3 areas that you can understand with a narcissist. Empathy, entitlement, and also exploitation. Empathy, entitlement, and exploitation. She lacks empathy, as you can be seen. You know, one thing I wanted to say about men and women in terms of this. In the family court system, this was not said by me, but it was said by Bob Geldof, who went through similar thing as a father. He said that he was told when he went to the family courts to not ever mention the love of your children as a father, because it would be seen as something very negative. However, the love of a mother for a child is something almost entrenched in our society. Now, if a mother loses a child, you know, loses a baby in an unfortunate way, or a baby's taken, God forbid, and that mother goes out and takes another child, because this is a well-documented thing where mothers who lose their children are thrown into some kind of temporary insanity, almost to speak, and they will seek out other children sometimes. Well, that action that the mother has taken will be taken into consideration once the courts and the authorities know that that woman has lost a child. Not so for a man. So the loss of my children, and especially in terms of the mother, isn't looked at as anything that I could be feeling pain about or feeling loss about. No. I'm just looked at as some kind of threat to her, harassment. I can assure the mother of my children, and she will watch this because it seems that she spends a lot of time watching my social media. I can assure her that once I get contact with my children, I won't even think about you. Ever. Just like that. You know what I mean? I even put a beat on and be like, you know, all gone. So yeah, empathy, exploitation, entitlement. For anybody to write a statement like this shows that they are deeply entitled as an individual, to think that they can use the system in order to prevent a man saying hello to his children. Just saying hello to them. You know, not taking them for the weekend, not zipping them across to the country, other side of the country, not taking them out for something to eat and sitting with them and saying, how are you doing, my lovely little child? No. Just even saying hello from afar. Can't do that. No. Such evil, such entitlement. Yes, it is evil. It's a disgusting form of a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding. But you see, I'm going to finish with, and the exploitation comes in with exploiting the system. But I'm going to end with this, and it's a very, very important thing for people who are being abused by a narcissist, because they will never stop trying to abuse you in some shape or form. This is very, 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 very important. They hate you and don't want you to have anything to do with the children. I used to be asked a lot, well, why don't she want you to have anything to do with the children? Well, I'll tell you this. I have a great affinity with children. I see it all the time with my music. And I have a great love and bond with my children. And they love me dearly and I love them dearly. That is the reason a narcissistic mother, father does not want the empathic parent to have anything to do with those children. Because that narcissistic woman, or narcissistic man in my case, that narcissistic woman knows that if the children have contact with the loving parent, they will understand what they are missing with the narcissistic parent who does not feel any empathy, does not feel true, genuine love for those children. I used to remember when the children were very little, very pretty, beautiful children. She used to tell me, the mother used to tell me how she used to get attention from men from having the children around. And I watched her and I thought, wow, that's sick. Men are thirsty. A lot of men are thirsty, and yeah, they do look at single mothers sometimes and think, oh, it's an easy option. I won't go into that, but they do. The psychology of men, they do. But to hear a mother of children come and be boasting how she's getting all this attention from men because of two little children was very, very, very worrying. And at the time, I didn't understand it. I understand it fully now. So to close with the point I was making, that narcissistic parent wants to force the empathic parent out so that the children will never understand the difference between a fast food product and a luxurious meal. The fast food product being analogous to the love or so-called love that the narcissistic parent gives the child, and the luxurious meal being analogous to the love that an empathic parent would give, a love that goes beyond. You know, some people say to me that, how can you carry on fighting for your children? You must, somebody said recently, you must have the willpower of 300 Spartans. No, I don't. I don't have that willpower. What I do have is more love for my children than I can quantify. So in ending this, I will see you very soon. Goodbye.